this month. And the first one is the soap company. Here's a little background on the soap company. The soap company offers all-natural, plant-based skincare products with premium, high-quality ingredients. What started 12 years ago with 4 soaps and a 6-foot table at a farmer's market has now evolved into 96 different products, 2 tents at markets, and a thriving online store that ships to all 50 states. J.D. and Chris Newgame, longtime customers and local Midlanders, bought the company in March 2024 from creator Beth Brulin. All the products they offer are designed for dry, sensitive skin, so naturally, West Texas is the perfect demographic for the business. Jamie?
Morning, y'all. My name's Jean. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in San Diego. Loved the beach and everything that had to do with it. Midland, Texas has the sand, but not the water. So shortly after I graduated high school, crazy night in Tijuana, Mexico, I met this Marine in cowboy hat and jeans, super cute, but fell in love instantly. He was from Midland, Texas, and so that's how I ended up here. He recruited me back to Midland after we got out of the military, and here we are, 3 kids later, 26 years, 2 grandbabies. Midland has been my home since 1998. I love it. I love the people here. The people are great. I brought index cards because I'm a behind the scenes kind of girl, and so this is all new for me. So anytime I get to pick a vacation, I'm gonna pick the beach. I'm gonna pick swimming with a fish, not like the movie line, swimming with a fish, but actually scuba diving, swimming with fish, sharks, love it. Okay, next slide, please. So getting started, right? Yes, how did you get started? Like Sammy said, Beth started this company 12 years ago. She had 4 bars of soap, and she was just looking for skincare that was natural, plant-based, and couldn't find what she wanted. And so she learned how to make it and created it, and she's grown it over the last 12 years into this amazing line of products. We've got 96 different products. That means that we've got 26 different soaps to choose from. I've got facial serums, lotions, balms, all the things. And so I love it, love it. Me and my husband were longtime customers, had always bought the product for, friends and family, just loved everything about it. We became friends with Jack and Beth. And from the first time I went to her house and saw her soap room, I just was drawn to the business. Like, I knew with everything in me that somehow I was going to be part of her business sometime. And I had done high-level marketing businesses before, and so I asked her, have you ever thought about doing that? I'd love to be your first person to get to do, your business. And we just kind of put it on the back burner and didn't talk about it. And I knew absolutely nothing about making soap or plant-based product, other than I loved it. And so when Beth decided to retire and move, she really wanted the company to stay in Midland, Texas, because this is West Texas. Everybody's got dry sensitive skin. And she already had an amazing customer mix at the farmer's market. She does farmer's markets every Saturday. We're at Midland downtown farmer's market. And so she already had that going. She already had a great website. She already had social media followers. And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can do this. We'll see. So in God's perfect timing, literally God's perfect timing for her, for us, I jumped in. I soaked up all the knowledge. Last January, around this time, I started going over to her house and learning how to make soap, how to make the products, how to, do the marketing part, how to do Facebook. I just soaked up everything that I possibly could. And then that's it. Here I am. A year later, and this year has gone by so fast, y'all. It's just flown by. but I love it. And I feel like more and more people these days are looking for natural skincare. I have so many people come up to the booth and say, yeah, we decided to cut out chemicals from our skincare products or our shampoos or, whatever. What can you do to help me? I got you. I can help. So next slide, please. Challenges. So I'm a people pleaser, 100%. That is my nature. I am a helper. I'm a pleaser. And I want to do everything for all people all the time. And so one of my challenges has been that I can't do that with everything I was doing. And one of my other job that I've got, I'm office manager at a nonprofit. And I'm behind the scenes. I've been there for 13 years and I love it, but I was the only employee, so I do everything. So then I fast forward, decided to buy this business. And so doing that plus another part-time job, plus checking in, it was hard. And so I've learned I can pay people to help me do things, and it's great. Things that I maybe don't have time to do. So being a baby business owner, I'm still learning so much. Is that really the time? Okay, I'm gonna try to go faster. So this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life, challenge. So time management, super hard, and space management. I'm a mom and pop farmer's market. I do this out of the house. And so that time management, each bar of soap, we would actually 26 of them, it's about a 5-hour process to pour soap. Then it sits for a couple of days, and then I cut it, and then it sits on shelves for 5 to 8 weeks. So I literally have a soap room just lined with soap on shelves. And so, space management, I can't outgrow myself. That's a big challenge because I don't have the space to do everything I need to do. So, next slide, please. Now, wins. I get so much joy from helping people. I love it. I love everything about it. I had a cute story, but I'm not going to tell you because I'm running out of time. So, I love that people come to the booth and they say, hey, your product just helped me with this. Or I get notes in the mail that people wrote and put a stamp on because they love our products. Or I get product reviews. Love it. So that is my number one most positive thing that I was not prepared for. I was not prepared for the amount of joy I get from getting to help people in that way, if that makes sense. So next slide. Why Midland? Midland's great. Midland has been where I've grown. I've raised my kids. I got two in the military. I've got another girl that's trying to figure out what she's doing with her life. But it's just been a great place to live and work and raise my kids since 1998. I love it. And so that's why Midland. And we already had a thriving customer base. And so it just makes sense to stay. What's next? Slide change, please. So 2/3 of our market is online, or 2/3 of our sales come from in-person market, and 1/3 is online business. And I would like to see that flip-flop because West Texas weather is really hard to navigate sometimes. And so, 2/3 of my money is coming from being outside at the farmer's market, and the weather is bad, and I don't go make money. And so I really love to see how I can get into some local businesses and talking to other business owners and doing things a different way to streamline that. And so that is my goal. I've got guest sets with Marriott and Investa right now. I've got a company out of San Antonio that has made a big purchase to be able to include our products in her gift baskets. So that's next, and I feel like we're kind of stuck between mom and pop farmers market and wanting to grow. I was telling somebody earlier that, the basmati soap place, all natural soap by the way, and Dr. Schlosh, like my nemesis, coming for you. It's gonna be great. So, next slide, maybe. Where to find us? One more thing, so I was visiting with a friend the other day, and she said, give me a moment, tell me a moment in your life that completely changed you, like a turning point. And it could be when you were 5, it can be when you're, 40, and I immediately thought it was buying this business. Like, I'm so excited, and I know that I'm supposed to be here. And I've always heard people say, like, owning your own business is really hard. And it's, all time consuming. That's just, until you actually do it. And literally every minute of every day, you're thinking about I'm thinking about customers and all things. So I love it so much, and I'm going to stop talking now.
Well, you just did a great job there, Jamie. You guys, let's give her another round of applause. It's so easy getting up here and putting your heart on the line, sharing your business. We can go ahead and take a seat. You're welcome to sit here. Oh, I'll come to you. Oh, okay, you want to come to second? Okay, perfect. Well, Jamie, first off, I've got to come to your house because I imagine the smell as you walk in. It's just really, really nice. And I did a business visit with Beth, the previous owner, and I gotta tell you, it did smell amazing, first off, but it was the most organized, meticulous system. So many labels, so many containers. It really made your OCD just at ease. So you are the first business that we've had speak at Founders Blend that actually is a business owner who purchased a business from another business. What has that been like? Because that's a unique position to be in as an entrepreneur.
For sure. And I feel like it's amazing, because she already had all the social media followers. She already had a huge following at the farmers markets. She already had a website that she should have took all 50 states. And so it was literally a pre-made business that I could just jump into. And it was something I was passionate about because I loved the product so much. And so it was just a perfect win all the way around. Because every inch of stuff that she put into the business, I didn't have to do any of it. I get to have fun and recreate now, but every label we have, every soap label, every, balm, she drew with her hands every single product label. And so I didn't have to do any of that.
But Beth, the previous owner, she spent a very long time trying to find, she was in her grandma era, she was ready to pass the baton. And when you have created a brand like that and following, it is really hard to find who do I trust enough to take this over? Because, like you said, it becomes your baby almost. How do you think she went about, and how was that transition where she did pass over, hey, this is something that I worked really, really hard on. Please don't let it fail. Do you feel that pressure?
100%, I love the pressure. And everything I, post on social media or the emails that I send out to our customers, I, run it through her first because I'm like, I want you to be happy with what I'm doing with the company. So it's a big thing, and she had talked to other people previously about possibly taking over the company, but she really prayed about it. And she was like, okay, this is it. And then when I started training with her, it was just a perfect bonding on both of our parts. Like, she tells me all the time, like, you were meant to do this. Like, I was meant to start this company and grow it, and you were meant to take it over. And so I love that we have those conversations all the time.
And sometimes do you feel like you have to remind yourself of that when you're like, is this really what I'm doing now?
Yes, all the time.
But then there's that confidence where it's like, yes, my feet are planted exactly where they're supposed to be at the exact same time that, God designed, that Beth designed there.
Yeah, it was some days, just like every business owner, some days you're like, I just don't want a business today. I just want to sit on the couch and watch movies, or I want to go sit on the beach. But even on vacation, like, I am thinking about this business. And so, some days I'm like, I'm just tired. I just need a break. And I think everybody does need breaks sometimes. But at the same time, 1,000%, I know this is what I was meant to do. Right now, this time.
That is awesome. And so often as a business owner, you have to be your own cheerleader because there isn't a boss overlooking things. Hey, have you met a certain amount of sales, or you have to be the one motivating yourself to do all of that. You also talked a lot about growing so fast, and there being some hesitation to that, specifically space. You can't grow too fast because you just don't have the space. How has that been?
So yes, my husband.
Yeah, how is your husband doing with all that soap business?
So 50% of my house right now is soap business related. So it went from, we grew our kids, had all the kids, all of them moved on with their lives, which, by the way, the soap company has become a family business unexpectedly. So they have all jumped in to help where needed. But yeah, we moved all the soap stuff from Mets house. You saw her house. So there's a lot of stuff. And my house is about half the size of hers. And so yes, 50% of my house is soap business related. And so I physically cannot outgrow myself. And so that's hard because, like I said, we're kind of stuck between mom and pop and wanting to grow. I want to see how far I can take this. I want to have customers all over the place. I don't know if I want to be like a TikTok person and have thousands of dollars of orders come in every day. I don't want to get that big. But at the same time, yeah, I'm kind of stuck.
Something that was interesting, if you look at your website, it is so professional, and you would think that it's a very, very large company. And this is something that Beth touched on. She would get inquiries from, large companies. She would get calls from Costco. Hey, we want your products at our stores. She would say, well, I'm making them, in an office in my house, so I can't meet that demand. But the need for those organic, clean products is there. Have you looked at a space or hiring more people to meet that demand?
Not quite yet. It's March 1st, we officially, gave them a check and we're starting to take over the business. So we are literally just still a baby business. It's still trying to figure it out, but very, very careful. One of the best advice that gave me was don't outgrow yourself, because she wanted just to be a local company. But you're right, product designs are just people think we're a huge company online, which is another thing we have to be careful of posting about on social media. Just the social media posts, like you don't want people to think, oh, you're doing it out of your kitchen with your,
Right.
with your kitchen, your stove, kind of thing. But
Yeah, it's a fine line to walk.
it is. So I'm learning also to navigate that. But
Well, we're going to backtrack here a little bit. You touched on, I'm getting a few questions here about what was it like buying the company? Meaning, did you get an evaluation? What was bought specifically? Walk us through that part of the process, because for a lot of people here, that's completely new to them, that idea.
right, and we got so lucky because we were friends with Jack and Beth, and she showed us their finances for the previous couple of years and showed us what they were making in sales, and we came up with a price based on the sales that they had, and then they actually, they financed us through themselves. So we got super lucky. I had talked to a couple different banks about getting financing, and because, again, we're stuck in the middle, they're like, oh, well, you're not buying a business with a place, you're just going to do farmers markets, and so it was going to be hard to get financing through a bank. And we could have done it, but that was a super other God thing. I was like, okay, here,
Yeah, I can't imagine what that process was like on both sides. That must have just been so unique and interesting to work through, especially then you've got that friendship dynamic too, which is important, but it can also be kind of tricky or stickier to work through.
Well, and they say never do business with your friends.
They do, but this is Midland, and
so that's always in the back of our mind too. That's another reason I don't want to disappoint Jack and Beth because they are our friends.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, any questions from the audience here? Oh, confident this morning. Well, we'll start with you up here.
Hey Jamie, how are you?
I'm good.
What is your vision for the business? What do you see? Why did you buy the business and what was your vision for the business?
To repeat that question for people who didn't hear that, what's your vision for the business?
So essentially, I would love to keep doing farmers market, to keep doing in person because that's where the people are, y'all. Like, you know, the Midland people are just great, and I'm honestly amazed at how many people come up to the booth. I'm like, hey, have you heard of our product before? And they say no. And it's like, wow. Like, you know, so Midland's in and out all the time. But my vision would be, you know, keep doing farmers markets, but also I'd really like to grow the online sales part of it. I'd like to work on marketing and stuff like that, be able to fill orders in my pajamas. That's my goal for life.
Hey, you had a question, John?
Yeah, I sure did. Who is your customer? And don't say everyone.
My customer is people that want plant-based skincare, that want a healthier version, that are looking for something that's not commercial. And I feel like a lot of our customers are Midlanders that want to support small business. I feel like there's a lot of people that maybe just buy my stuff to try it because we're a small business, because we're a local business, and because we're veteran owned. You know, that's something I don't have on the website yet, but I think it's something on the app. And so because I know personally, I try to buy from small business and local. You know, my printer that prints most of my stuff is a local business here in Midland. You know, I try to get whatever I can from Midland. So my customer, hopefully, is people that want to buy small, not Costco.
Or buy small at Costco, which they can do soon, starting next summer in 2025.
Maybe that needs to be my goal.
Yeah.
In Costco.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And we had another question over here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Jamie, spoke about it from Jamie and Mike, but do you envision a future where you potentially leave your office manager role if things pan out and you want to?
It's a really hard question. Because, you know, my office manager role, you know, I love it. I love everything about it, but yes, I've had to step back. Last January, I had to break the news to the president, which my boss changes every year with the presidents, but, you know, that I needed to step back a little bit. And it seems like I've had to step back more and more because this is my baby and this is my passion. And so, yeah, eventually it's gonna come, unfortunately, but I do love it. But like, I'm a people pleaser. I want to do all the things, and so it's gonna be hard. Maybe we'll see.
And you touched on just the opportunity that you have at the farmer's market to meet people, but why the farmer's market? Why not a storefront?
So I feel like being in Midland this long, I've kind of learned that having a storefront would be really hard. And I mean, scary one, but this is scary, so hey, I'm one step ahead of the game now, right?
Yeah.
But finding people that want to work at a retail business to, you know, if I don't have time to work because I'm out there baking soap or, you know, doing whatever, finding the personnel, I feel like in Midland, Texas would be really challenging. So I don't know that having an actual storefront is in my future. Not to say that I wouldn't partner with somebody. Like, there's a local business here in Midland, and they partnered with a bakery, and they, you know, the bakery bakes stuff in that business. That's not the main business, but I'm like, you know, that would be a possibility to maybe, if somebody had space for me to be able to make my product, cure my product, and also sell product there. That'd be something I'd be willing to look at. But yeah, owning an actual storefront to me would be super scary.
Well, are you interested in having your product at a storefront, other storefronts, maybe not making the product there, but selling it to other businesses where they can sell it to their customer base?
I think yes. I am, now that we've had the business for a year, I feel more comfortable in doing that. And I know that I won't outgrow myself. But yes, I'd love to talk. If any of you are local store owners who would like to talk about my products, I got you. Let's have lunch.
I have a question.
Yes.
No, go ahead.
Keep saying that Dr. Squatch was your nemesis and you don't want to outgrow yourself. I just
know.
feel like there's two forces opposing each other right there. What is, do you really want to grow it? Because if people really need, I just bought 3 bars of soap on your website, honestly, because I buy Dr. Squatch all the time. If my skin is really sensitive. But if people really need the product, it's like give it to you for a purpose.
You're right. And I'm a hot mess all over the place all the time. Like my brain just one time says this and the next time says this. But yes, I feel like everybody has to have goals in life, and especially as a business owner, you want to know where you're going, and have a, bucket list, not a bucket list thing, but a thing like, okay, Dr. Squatch, I'm pretty sure started, it as a small business. They didn't immediately just be like, hey, we're gonna make this product and sell it in a million stores. And so, I'm still trying to figure that out. But, they are, because I've got so many customers that come to the booth and say, hey, I've tried this product, or I've tried Buff City soap, and, I'd rather support you because you're local. And so I don't want to get away from that. I want to stay, grounded, if that makes sense. But I would like to grow a little bit. I don't know. That answer your question? And I love that you love the product.
Just bought 3 bars.
Thank you.
Yeah. I do feel like so often as an entrepreneur, you've got, the angel on one side and the devil on one side, and often you're having conversations between the two. Oh, we really gotta do, and you have to balance that. And all the while you're balancing that, you're also, managing relationships and a home life and all of that. And you touched on this when we met previously about how you've recruited, your kids to help with the business, your husband has been recruited. And then you touch on the worries of, will you be able to find that workforce outside of your home? Are you at the point where you need to start doing that?
Not quite yet. My daughter comes and helps me. If I get orders, she comes and fills them, or she will package soap for me, or she will do stuff. So I'm not ready yet to bring in any outsiders. I'm not to that point in growth yet. But right now it's just a completely family-run business, unless you're my neighbor and you come over on Black Friday to shop for Black Friday, and I put you to work for 3 hours because I have so many orders. So my neighbors are great.
So I think you just need a help wanted sign just in your front window there. Like organic clean soap. Come on in.
And I will pay you in soap. Like literally, they came over to shop and they helped me for 3 hours, and I was like, please just let me give you all the soap you need, like right now, like whatever you need, you just take it.
I love that. Well, Jamie, I feel like you are just right there on you have such an opportunity as people really start to care about the products that they are using, putting in their body, and people love supporting local businesses. That growth is knocking on your door whether you like it or not. And you got this. You have got this. Beth thought so, and I'm sure a lot of people here think so as well. We'll wrap it up. Any last questions here?
I'll piggyback off what you said. So as you expand and when you get a new warehouse, is there a challenge in compliances as far as health and safety? So as you expand, you start going into stores, are there going to be different levels of compliance?
Honestly, I don't know the answer to that question. That's something I need to research if we're gonna start doing that. I know when I had a business before and it was food-based, you always had to have a label on it saying this product was made in a home kitchen, But I don't know, as far as skincare products, if that applies. So I'll have to look into it.
And final question here, what are you most looking forward to in this next year as a business owner?
Most looking forward to in 2025, not being such a crazy person. Like, and that's only because, you know, when I literally jumped into this business head first, like it was pre-made and I hit the ground running. And I feel like I had an eye twitch for a little bit, y'all, because I was just so drawn in every single direction. So I feel like 2025 is going to be great because I'm more comfortable. I'm more comfortable with the farmers markets and people and the setup. I'm more comfortable talking. Like last January, there's no way in the world I could sit up here and be like, I'm not a company. But so yeah, hopefully 2025 brings more sales and more people into my life and less stress. I'm excited about it.
Good. Well, kudos to you because it is not easy running your own business, and we can't wait to watch 2025 unfold. And I did get quite a few questions that I didn't touch on. So if you texted me your question, well, you were going to stay here after Founders Blend, come up and ask that question one-on-one. This is what this is all about, is being intentional and having those conversations and growing. Well, thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause. Oh, yes, this is a good reminder. So up at the front door here, we had a little jar that you can drop a business card in. Well, at the end of Founders Blend, we're going to do a drawing, and whoever wins that drawing gets some soap from the soap company. Thank you. Yeah, you can just leave that in. Perfect. Perfect. Well, wasn't that great? And once again, that is the first business that we have heard from at Founders Blend where they have bought that business from another local business owner. And it just goes to show there's a lot of different dynamics that can come to running your own business. Well, you were going to hear from another business this morning, West Texas IT. And here's a little background on West Texas IT. John Brenner served in the United States Navy before he got into computers and IT. He started his career after the Navy working with large corporations, writing software for retailers in the US, Canada, Latin America. He started his company, West Texas IT Consulting, in January of 2010 and has experienced all the challenges of a new and upcoming business. John's passion is to help people be successful, which is how he has grown the business. He wants employees to be successful, clients, kids, friends, peers. John is willing to consult with any Founders Blend members to help them be successful. Not necessarily with IT, although that is his expertise, but rather just with starting a business. Okay, without further ado, John. Oh, there he is. We can do it for you. Yeah, the clicker, where? It's not up here.
Hi, everybody. How are you all doing today? I'm John Brenner. I'm the owner and president of West Texas IT Consulting. I just wanted to share my story this morning. My family, Tracy, we've been married 27 years. Lindsay is 25. Michael's 23. And of course, the troublemakers, Archie on the left down there. And Juno is the cat, and she's always mad at me when I go out of town. So, I wanted to tell you all about my Navy service just because I was a search and rescue swimmer on the battleship Wisconsin during Desert Shield, Desert Storm. The reason why that's important is because I was also a supply type in the Navy. And because I was always on station at the lifeboat or the helicopter, I wasn't much good to my division, and so they assigned me up to the supply officer. The supply officer had the only computer on board ship, black screen, green letters, long time ago, and I was fascinated with that. And so I decided that when I got out of the service, that's what I wanted to do. So next slide, please. I just wanted you all to see a couple of pictures of the ship that I served on. It was quite an interesting time. After the time on board the Wisconsin, I did a tour in Rota, Spain, and worked with 13 Spanish carpenters for 4 years, which really helped me to improve my Spanish, and so it was a good time. So I got out of the service, went to Texas Tech. I got 2 degrees in 3 years. I was a little more mature than I was the first time through. And when I got, I landed a job with a company out of Latin America, JDA Software, I wrote code for them for about 10 years and then landed a contract with, let's go back up one, with Boeing with that Apache helicopter. I wrote code for the Apache for 2 years, and I loved those people and that machine, but they wanted me on site, so I traveled 44 weeks a year for 2 years with young kids, crying every time I'd leave. It was very difficult. So I started West Texas IT Consulting in 2010. I worked out of the house for about 18 months. Started, of course, with no money and no clients. A sweet little old lady took 15 of my cards to her investment club, 15 cards to her supper club, 15 cards to her bridge club. So I started with 60 little old ladies, taught me patience and kindness and all of that. They started to insist that their husbands used me for business, and so my business began to take off. I was scheduling people about 3 weeks out, which was starting to become difficult for them. They were telling me they couldn't wait. So my first real hire was in 2012. And then we got so busy that we needed to hire someone else, and then so it just kind of snowballed at that point. I became what's called an MSP in 2017. What that is up to that point we were a break fix shop. So you just call us when it breaks and we come out and fix it. Now we're a managed service provider, so we manage the computers of the clients that have us under contract. So we have an agent that monitors the health and security of that machine, but it connects them directly with our help desk, and so it's been a way to really service our clients in a better way. This last year, we became ISO 27001 certified. That's Information Security Management System, which means that our company and what we do for our clients is in compliance with the ISO standards. So that was 180 documents that I had to get ready, and it was very difficult. It answers a lot of questions when we're sale with a big company. So I think we're now past 90 clients. I've had a couple of deals closed in the last few weeks. And these clients are the ones that are managed. We also have 2,800 break fix clients, which is crushing us. We are run ragged. Now Fridays are easy, but my employees come in on Thursday afternoon and it's exhausting. So we're changing our business model. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the team. I wanted you all to know. Elizabeth's our controller, Sean is our dispatcher. We really work for those two girls, all of us, because they kind of run the show. My senior techs, everybody's just fantastic. I just wanted you all to get to know them a little bit. So, next slide, please. So, with our ISO 27001 certification, we have obligations now to what we need to do and how we need to secure our clients and their environments. So, we're beginning to let go of some of our break fix work. On October 1st of last year, we stopped accepting new residential clients. Just a couple of days ago, we stopped our residential business. Now, there's some of those folks that have been clients forever, and so we do have a few exceptions, but we're trying to become a pure MSP over the course of this year. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin to convert our break fix clients into the MSP, and then if they're not interested, we're going to have to start to let them go, just because we just don't have the resources to continue to service that. So, our help desk today is in California. There's 6 technicians on our help desk and 2 engineers that support them, but that's incredibly expensive. And so I'd like to bring the help desk back in-house. And so the plan on that, I wanted to do it in Q3 of this year, but my team is trying to get me to do that sooner so we can control the remote work as we do the on-site work. So, and then at some point, I'd like to develop a SOC, which is a 24/7 security operations center that other IT companies can use to maintain and monitor their computers as well. So, next slide, please. So I thought for a long time that my job was to develop income streams into the business. And of course, as an owner, that's what you want to do. Now, when we became an MSP, the income from managed clients is what you call monthly recurring revenue, what I call monthly recurring revenue. Other recurring revenue would be all the income that we have from backups or for emails, for antivirus, and those kinds of things. So I have a lot of other recurring revenue that's tied up in the break fix business. And so as we convert these clients into the MSP, I need to be careful that we don't kill our income streams as we're trying to move those over into the MSP. So we're going to cherry pick them, try to do it slowly. But the goal is to become as pure an MSP as possible by the end of this year. So one of the things we're working on says chart of accounts. What we're doing with our chart of accounts is we're splitting those up so that we know what products and income comes from the managed side of the business and what revenue and income comes from the break fix side of the business, so we can begin to determine how to make that transition. So non-recurring revenue projects, what we've been doing is we'll do one project a month. So it helps with scheduling, because if we're trying to do 4 projects a month with servers and networks, there's really no way that we have enough people to do that. So we visit with the business owners and try to talk to them about what's upcoming and have them pick a time and say, okay, December's full, you better pick January if you want to get this project done. So we're trying to be a little bit more proactive, because I want to make the non-recurring income more predictable. Because as soon as we finish the project and it goes into billing, then we start another project, and then it goes into billing and we start another project. And that helps to make that non-recurring revenue a little bit more predictable. So, smart numbers. Smart numbers are those numbers that you look at as a business owner, trying to adjust those levers to get your income to be higher and higher. And learning what those smart numbers are in your business, I think, is very important, because then it over time, it educates you on how you're doing with the things that you're trying to do to move your business forward. So a turning point for me, when I'm in meetings and stuff and I talk about the turning point is when our monthly recurring revenue pays for everything. All salaries, all expenses, and everything. And so I'm working towards that point where our monthly recurring revenue takes care of everything, and then all the other recurring revenue, non-recurring revenue, becomes just on top of it. So I'm working towards that turning point. There's a lot of MSPs in the country. There's a lot of IT companies around, and the thing that sets us apart is we have what's called a TAM role, Technology Alignment Manager. So they're not technicians, and yes, they do fixes and stuff, but they go to their clients and they visit with them on a regular basis to try to be a little bit more proactive rather than reactive. And the noise from those clients has gone way down, because we know what's happening and stuff. And so our ticket count is less, our stress is less, and so it's worked out really well. And then, of course, the VCIO, which I'm filling that role, and someday I'll have to hire somebody to fill it. But that's the role where I go and talk to them about the projects they have coming up, and what they need and what's going on. It gives them a chief information officer. That's the role that we take for them. So those are the 2 roles that really set us apart as a company. So really, last but not least, at the end of this year, when we become this pure MSP, I'd like to begin to go after some national accounts. So we work for. We work for 15 or 16 veterinary clinics in Midland, Odessa, and Big Spring. 99% of those are owned by a company out of Chicago called Heartland. And I would love to approach Heartland and say, look, why don't we do the help desk for all of your veterinary clinics? So what that's going to mean, though, is if I'm West Texas IT Consulting, they're going to go, wow, you're regional. And so at some point, I'll need to change the company name. And so that's a challenge that I've got coming up in 2026, I think. And then the last thing is that with this, I've been out of shape for, several times in my life. And as I've gotten into better shape, everything in my life has gotten better. Business is better, family is better, relationships are better. And so in this big push to change this business model, I wanted to tie my health to that. And I just think that I've got a personal trainer now, and so I'm trying to take some steps to really improve my life in all levels. So next slide, please. These are some of our clients. I just wanted you all to see some of the clients that we're working for now. as managed clients. And it's, our reputation is good and it's bringing in a lot of good business. So, next slide. Any questions?
Great, that was great, John. Let's give him a round of applause. It's not easy for him here in Sweden. And then while we're still clapping, how about having 2 veteran-owned businesses speak this morning? That is awesome. So we thank you guys for your service. And we appreciate that you utilized a lot of those skills I'm sure that you acquired in the Navy now to run a small business. Okay, well, John, you were one of my very first business visits, and I would just randomly cold call people. And John, most of the time, I would talk to the secretary or something, and then by the time I got to the owner, I was like, all right, now I really gotta sell it, I gotta take it home. And John was so great at explaining the perspective of being a business owner. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And so you are a great speaker, and I'm sure your story just resonates with so many people. One thing that you touched on that just sticks out to me, it is a lot managing a full team of people, growing a business, and also having a family. And you kind of reached, it sounds like, almost a breaking point in your previous job. You're traveling a lot, you're away from home. Did it just take a lot of different factors for you to say, you know what, I could do this on my own, and I can see my kids more, I could be home, I could be in our own, backyard here. Did it take a while for you to get to that point? Or was it always in the back of your head, hey, I could do this myself?
Well, when you're working for Boeing and you're working on the Apache helicopter, writing code for the Apache, it's hard to let go of that sort of thing.
That's everybody's dream.
As a guy who's, and so I loved doing that, but they knew that I was unhappy. I was giving it my all, I'm very loyal and all that when I worked for someone, but I was unhappy. And so really around Christmas time of that year, I gave him a 2 weeks notice and said, I gotta do something else, I just have to do something else. And so that was really it's just, as much as I loved it, at the same time, I was just drawn back to my family.
And I feel like that draws a lot of business owners to readjusting or reevaluating where they're at. And then it's a big risk when all of a sudden you go from having an income and working for somebody else to, I gotta do the work to make any money.
Sure.
And so tell me about those sweet old ladies.
Okay, so Betty Ewan who's now no longer with us. She took 15 of my cars to her investment club and they started calling. And then she took cars to her boat club, her bridge club. And so it was really, I'd say 30, 45 ladies that would just keep me on retainer, kind of call me every week. Some of them didn't even need help, they just wanted me to visit. We'd have scotch, they'd have a dirty martini, and then we'd play words with friends on the iPad, we'd hand the iPad back and forth. And so they kind of knew the situation that I was in, and they wanted to help me, but they also, we really hit it off. And so I guess you all know what it means to be an ICE contact in case of emergency on your phone. I was the ICE contact for 11 of those women.
Wow.
And my mom, of course, is one of those 11 now. 8 of those women are gone. One of them now lives in Lubbock, but I take one of those ladies to the hairdresser, to the beauty operator mostly. And so, I'm still involved as much as I can. So.
And that is so unique. You touched on when we met earlier, there's so many people that are frustrated being on the phone with a machine or not even having a phone number to call and having to email. And you said, we are all about customer service because that reputation will grow and then those will be more customers. And I think that slide there of your customers is a testament to that. Why was that important?
Well, so about 2 years ago, we were growing, and our service level was beginning to drop. And that is the scariest thing to me for anybody to say, West Texas IT Consulting is not a good company, they don't respond. And so I began to look for someone to do the help desk function for us. And so I had a couple of meetings and we got all the way down the road, and then at almost the end when we were ready to sign, they would say, now I want you to understand that the administrative office is here in the US, but our help desk is in Russia, or our help desk is in New Delhi. And I just don't, I was like, I'm not doing that. And so I did find a company out of California, all English speakers. It's very much more, it costs $7,500 a month for them to handle my help desk for me, which is a huge expense. Now, it's kind of they've been doing it for about 2 years. They've been meeting our requirements. It's been fine, but our dispatcher, when she hands things to the help desk in California, she doesn't know what time it's going to be done. And so the person calls back, and then they call back. And so Shauna comes into my office and said, I really want our help desk here because I can control not only the remote work, the on-site work, but also the remote work. And so the plan was to do that in Q3. The girls came into my office and said, we got to do this soon. You need to try to do this by the end of the month or something. So I've approached one of my employees to see if she'd be willing to be our help desk just to get it started. And so they're kind of being pushed internally to move that forward. Now, $7,500 is not enough to pay 3 or 4 people, but it certainly should be enough to help us to fund that help desk. And so I'd like to self-fund the construction and stuff like that. We've never had any debt at all, and I'm sure I could be a whole lot farther along in business, but I just don't like having those big debts. And so we're going to self-fund the help desk and get that started, and then we'll be able to do this transition, these companies into the MSP.
Yeah, that'll be great. You also touched on, you were one of the very first business owners I talked to where workforce wasn't an issue, which is, I don't know what it's like right now, but a big part of that was you leaned a lot on our local colleges and programs for recruiting. Walk us through that.
Well, what we did is we gave presentations to the technology students at both Midland College and Odessa College, and just told them about what we do as a business and what we're looking for. We always stress communication. Yes, learn IT, but if you don't learn how to communicate, you're not going to be any good to any of us. And so we developed the relationships with those technology departments. And sometimes I would call them and say, hey, I'm looking for an intern, or they would call me and say, this kid, you really need to talk to him. And so half my workforce are folks from Midland College or Odessa College, and they've been with me for 3 years. They're making $70 grand. They're doing fantastic. And it's about having a passion for it and being able to communicate, and also how you mix with the team. I've hired some guys that have a whole lot of experience. They're in their late 40s, and they just kind of look down on everybody, and a month later they're gone because it just doesn't gel. So you have to keep your own, we do, I tell everybody we work for Shauna and we work for Elizabeth because they have a handle on what's going on. But we also have to work really well because it's about love. You got to love your clients and you have to love each other. And then it's about communication, and then it's about IT. These other 2 things are so much more important than the actual technology. We're a people company. Yes, we fix your computers, but it's about how we deal with each other and our clients. It's really relevant. So.
It's about how you treat each other and treat your clients. That's how you run your company. That is very well said. And that culture buy-in is really important as far as employee retention. And so it's evident with those students that you hire, they're still there. Something in the sauce is working.
Well, we used to have a conference room and never used it. So we got all that out of there, put a big sofa in there, put a Lego table, put a PS5 in it. And so the kids are at the office all the time because they're out of school, they're not feeling well. And so we kind of made it, there's an environment there. So if a mom has to work, but she needs a place to bring her kid, that, it's really worked out well. So we want to make it where the employees have a place to call.
That's awesome, because you spend a lot of time with the people that you work with. Yeah, that is awesome. Well, one question that I've got here, can you give an example of what your SMART numbers are that you pay attention to?
So, of course, numbers about revenue are important. So, all business owners are looking at, what are my profit margins of this and that. But some of the things that I try to look at are how many tickets are things that we have to react to every month. What tickets are just come through that don't need any intervention? How many tickets per technician? And those things that help you figure out, do I need another employee? Do I need to, is it time to go after another big business? So I'm trying to keep the balance of having something in the pipe and making sure that you have the resources to support that. Of course, the goal is to move your business in a positive direction. And so a lot of times I'm looking at the money that we're saving. It costs me maybe 76 cents to make a dollar, but if I can save a dollar, it's a whole dollar. And so we audit things all the time. We try to plug those holes like a dike with all our fingers at the same time. We're trying to make sure that we're not bleeding funds, So those are really the numbers that I'm talking.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You also told me to ask you about, in talking about how you redid your conference room there, about gray paint.
Gray paint.
Never had anyone ask me about gray
Okay,
paint.
so when I was working on the battleship for the supply officer, I was helping to get emergency parts to the ship, and he said, "John, I need you to get secret clearance." And I was like, "Why?" "Well, the gray paint that you need to order for us is a national secret. The Navy gray that they paint ships with in the Navy is a national secret. And so in order for me to order gray paint, I had to get security clearance." So years later, after I had worked for JVA Software for 10 years and I went and tried to win that contract with Boeing, they said, "Well, you have to have secret clearance." And I said, "Well, I have secret clearance." And so they reactivated my clearance and I was able to work for Boeing for that 2 years because of gray paint. And so I won the job at Boeing because I had to have that secret clearance from the gray paint. And so it was an interesting connection.
Well, every time I look at gray now, I'm gonna think of you there. Any questions for John? Any questions here?
Mike, though.
I did get another question. Have you thought about, yes.
John, you've been in business since 2010. Can you talk through your legal counsel, CPA relationships for helping you along the way? Has that changed, or has it primarily just stayed
Sure.
for years?
So obviously, for the first couple of years, I was just trying to, I didn't pay taxes. I just trying to survive. And then I hired a guy who was very smart, a CPA. He kind of got me out of that rut, made a deal with the IRS so that we could get those taxes paid and all that. And then I hired an actual accountant, and he worked in-house. He's a priest, an Anglican priest at the same time. And he knew a lot about the numbers and understood what levers to pull. Well, about 3 years ago, actually 3 years ago in January, he and I kind of had a little falling out. There was a question about who owned the company. And so I let him go and also realized that all that knowledge was gone. That I didn't know anything about being a businessman. I was fantastic in IT, great at communication, didn't know anything about the numbers. And so we found an outside firm that's a couple that is just fantastic. And they have helped us with the accounting side and taxes, of course, but also in these conversations about changing our chart of accounts and understanding how, I want 70% profit on every tool that we sell, every service. And so we've been working with them to try to figure out how to package and price things so that we can reach those goals. So anyway, that's where we are today. We have a controller who does our invoicing, bookkeeping and stuff in the house, but the actual accounting function, we outsource that. So.
Yeah, that was a great question. Any other questions here? Yes, in the back.
So because you're marketing a service, do you notice that you're getting more clients through word of mouth, or is it through social media or from your website? Where are all of your clients coming from?
So in 15 years, I've spent $0 on marketing. no money is spent on marketing. So it started with 60 little old ladies, and it was all referrals. And so as the company grew, I was so small that I was worried about growing too fast and not being able to service folks. And so it's honestly been through word of mouth for 15 years. Now, we have 3 to 5 businesses walking through the door every week. And my close rate, because of this story, is quite good. And I realized a long time ago that the more stories you tell in the sales process, the easier it is to develop that relationship and be trusted and get that signature. And so we're still word of mouth. Now, after we transition it to become a pure MSP, as I was talking about, I'd like to go after some of those larger national companies. And so I'm thinking about hiring a marketing salesperson in Q1 of 2026. It'll kind of depend on the team and the feedback that I get from my internal team as when we need to do that. And that's really a dispatcher question. Sometimes I'll say, how are we doing? She's like, we need somebody else. And so you get started on that. Or, how are we doing? It's like, we got some time, so it's time to now market a little bit more, get the pipeline going. But the truth is it just seems like Jamie said, a God thing. I mean, every week we're onboarding a new client. And so until I get to the point where I want to go national, I don't know if I need any marketing yet. But now that we're profitable, we have the funds to do it if we need to. So
I think that is part of what makes Midland so special, and that's something I get asked often when I meet with businesses. Well, how do you market? Well, in Midland, the best way to market is having a good experience and a good reputation.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but another thing that I think is important to every business is something called your center of influence. This is a center of influence. Your law firm might be a center of influence. I mean, anybody that you can leverage, that you have some influence with, that can draw people into your business, I think that those centers of influence ought to be thought about, ought to be not exploited, but identified and fostered and develop those relationships, because then it's not just you trying to draw people into your business. This is a good center of influence because you introduce each other, you get to know each other, and you develop that relationship, and they're like, well, yeah, let me go see this guy. I haven't talked to him before, or something. And so I just think that that's important.
Yeah, identify those stakeholders and stoke those relationships. Yeah, that is awesome. Well, John, thank you so much for your time. One question here to wrap things up. I love that your name is West Texas IT. Don't love that you're gonna have to, change that eventually. But West Texas has been special and good to you. What would you tell other West Texas business owners who are just getting started?
I think when you're just getting started, you spend a lot of time outrunning expenses. And I did that for a lot of years. I looked and I thought, I don't have enough money this month, and I'd get out there and I'd just bang away at it. And if you can do that until your resources increase, and I don't really know, either an employee or finance or whatever that might be, that's what you really need to do is don't quit. You need to continue to outrun what you were having to pay, And that sounds a little bit mundane, but that's kind of what it boiled down to for a long time. I just said that, I work 7 to 7, 6 days a week, just to make sure I can pay my bills.
Well, I think that is some really great advice. Let's give John a round of applause. Thank you so much.